Ryan Reyes.
And I'm Dominic Angel.
And together we are
Poquito Podcast.
It's lightning.
Thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you watch to the end. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment. Comments make you sexy.
And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, rate and review us.
Yeah.
5 stars, please.
Follow us on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, at Un Poquito Pod. Send us an email at unpoquitopod@gmail.com. Ryan reads all of them. I read some of them.
Only the ones that compliment him.
Hell yeah. Also,
if you're looking to support us, we have a Discord, which is open to the public. You can find the link in the description and in our bios on our social pages. And we have a Patreon. Starting at $2, you get access to ad-free content, bonus content, and exclusive Patreon episodes.
yes, agreed. If you haven't noticed, we haven't done this in a while.
In a short minute.
It's been a minute. We recorded our last 2 episodes with our brother and mom. Thank you for listening and watching, and hope you guys enjoyed the episode. But we've been going through some changes. You know, stuff is going on behind the scenes, and we're just recuperating. It's the holidays, a lot of family matters happening.
We all got sick.
But we're back. And better than ever. Not yet, but we're getting there.
I don't know why. And like an 80s trailer for a sequel came in. They're back. And then it's like one of us is wearing glasses. What's up, nerd? Like a whole, in that 5-second span, an entire trailer played in my head. And I love it. High five. You're getting better at that.
Fuck you, dude. We're back. We're here in an undisclosed new studio. Guys, we're going to do an energy shift on this podcast, like a mission statement shift. And the podcast is now going to just be, how many studios can we record in? And just try to, how many ever different places we can do. You know, next week we're going to Tel Aviv.
That was such a dramatic face. I forgot a line. Un poquito. Celebrating culture, exploring Latin culture little by little.
Thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Takes me a second.
How have you been? We talked about it a little bit in the Patreon episode, but you know it's been a minute since we've seen each other. Since I've even seen you in person.
So here's the thing is I got a cold, and when I get sick it's usually fine. It honestly often sounds more dramatic than it is because I have like a sensitive esophagus. There's like sensitive tissue in there. So even though the cold lasts like 2-3 days tops, there's like not strep throat, but the sore throat that I get from it lasts like 3 weeks. This is why I sound a little weird today.
Yeah, when you cough, you sound like a velociraptor in Jurassic Park. You're like, arf, 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 arf.
Did you know that was a combination of a seal, a dog, and a turtle fucking?
Fuck you. Okay? It was a good setup, and you gotta go and fucking autistic jizz all over it. Just... Oh, let me ruin your jokes with facts and knowledge. Fucking bitch.
It would be funny if you're like facts and knowledge.
Jeez Louise. Orf, orf, orf. Fuck. I've been hearing this thing going around on Twitter where people are saying that they are getting sick, but they don't feel sick. Have you heard of this? That's how it was with me.
Haven't experienced that, but there was a moment where I had gotten over most of the primary symptoms. Like I no longer had a fever. My cough was going away, but the congestion was still there. But I didn't have congestion in my nose because you know when it gets in your nose and you feel it behind your eyes? That was gone, but I still had congestion in my ears. So my head felt like empty. and like I didn't have any balance, and I kind of felt like I was floating for 3 days. It was.
I tell you, we bid knew your head was empty, Ryan.
It's full of rocks. That's both
Why-
the reference to the phrase and a reference to a story I told about when I was little and I put rocks in my ears.
You've been doing this thing consistently to me today where I will set up a joke and then instead of adding to it or laughing, you try to one-up me. And I'm not going to stand for it.
I feel like what you consider to be one-upping is me adding to the bit.
No, you're doing it incorrect. You need to study
That's not
social
how society
situations.
works, Dominic.
What are we talking about today?
Talking about traditions.
Traditions, barely newer.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about because so there's this concept that there's these very popular social traditions, not only in the Latin community but in America in general, that I feel like we never really experienced.
No.
I feel like maybe there was attempts when we were really young, but they never worked out exactly how they were meant to.
The problem is that Christmas and winter, winter stuff is like, we live in California, Southern California. There's no
snowfall.
There's no snowfall.
Unless you live in the mountains.
Takes the wind out of the winter a lot. What traditions do you want to talk about?
Well, like one that I thought was interesting, and I feel like this might have been almost directly because of me. We never had that moment where Santa came. They used to do that when we were...
Sorry. We used to live in an apartment building the size of a shoebox. And this was when we were in Texas before Ryan was born. And this is the hardest part of one, like, growing up Latino, but I think this has to do more with growing up poor, right? Is that, like we said, our mom wanted us to have like a very traditional style of Christmas, so she like wanted us to believe in Santa Claus so much, but we were not in the circumstances to believe in Santa. We didn't have enough privilege to believe in Santa. Okay, I'm hot take. But if you are pushing Santa on your kids, you're problematic, all right? Because here's the thing. We lived in an apartment. How does Santa get into houses, huh? Through the fucking chimney? Oh, I'm sorry, Richie Rich. All I have is a fucking radiator that's making a bunch of noise to keep me warm, okay? You know what they told us, how he got into the house? That he turned into magic and came in through the keyhole in our door.
That's creepy.
Yeah. How did he get the presents in, huh?
They were magic also.
Where are the reindeer parking?
That would be funny.
How many flights of stairs is Santa going up and down?
Yeah. I mean, I believed in Santa for a while, and I think the reason I fell out of it was really funny, but it was ironic that you brought up, because at this point, it is kind of a privileged thing to believe in Santa, but the irony of it is I believe that the saint that he's based on became a saint because he gave gifts to the less fortunate. So the ironic thing about it was Santa was invented for poor kids.
Oh, white savior, huh?
And then
I get it.
I would say it's more of a gentrified thing.
Well, here's the thing. Santa's a racist.
Santa's a drunk, and I'll maintain that.
It's hard to have traditions when your family doesn't have a lot of money. Christmas is supposed to be really hard for like poor parents.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole lot of like social obligations that you want to like hold on to. But like the thing is I feel really bad for our mom because she's, like I said, she really tried to get us to believe in Santa Claus, but you know, we didn't have a chimney. And the other thing was that my mom couldn't afford like childcare, so she had to take us wherever she went.
Right.
And during Christmas time, when we unwrapped our presents, she would do the thing that a lot of parents do, where she's like set aside 4 of the presents and put from Santa. Like he's the one that got you these presents. And I opened the presents that said from Santa, and I was like, yeah, right. You got me these. I went with you to put them on layaway. And then everybody in the party just looked at my mom and she's like, no, Santa gave you those. Santa. And I was like, yeah, right. We got these at the swap meet. You're a liar. I carried this on my back.
I got these for me.
I chose these out.
I walked 10 miles through the snow.
Yeah, you start to believe in magic when,
You've dead.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, I believed in Santa when I was younger, but so that tradition where you tell the kids to go to bed and then you wake up in the morning and that idea that Santa had passed through the night, we didn't have that because I have insomnia. So I do not go to sleep. So instead of putting us to bed, they were like, well, you have to go to bed or Santa won't come. And so it started turning into a thing where if we were still awake, they would just be like, you missed him. He was here. He was looking for you. And you missed him because you weren't paying attention. And then it like became a thing where because we couldn't wait, we'd open like one present before midnight or at midnight. And then we'd have to wait till the actual Christmas. Like then we'd go to sleep. And then it became a thing after a couple of years where they were just like, fuck it. And once it hit midnight, we would just go to town and open all our presents.
Here is where I ask the question. This is a new segment on the show, which is, what fucking life is Ryan living? Because that is not true.
What are you talking about?
First of all, we're Mexican, dog. We don't do Christmas on Christmas Day like a bunch of fucking yuppies, all right? We're not fucking Kevin McAllister going on vacation, all right? We have Christmas Eve at midnight because we got work in the morning, okay? I've never celebrated Christmas on Christmas morning. Are you kidding me? I'm going to go to sleep and wake up. I'm going to wake up and open presents? No, dog. I've been up since 3:30 playing with my toys. We never did that because the thing is that our uncle worked. You know what's funny is that I didn't know that it was a Mexican thing to like do things on Christmas Eve.
Right.
Or like a Latino thing, which I still don't understand why. We should have looked this up for the podcast, like why Latinos do Christmas. I honestly think that we do it because we work during Christmas Day.
And that probably makes sense.
I mean, that's...
Well, I think it's also because some families, from growing up, I remember this is the other thing was like on Christmas Day, you're supposed to like spend the day together and you do the whole tamale thing. Like you eat the tamales that your mom and grandma had been making like the last 2 days prior.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's why you get the presents out of the way so that you spend the rest of the day like with family eating food.
Or you go with you go with your dad's family on Christmas Eve and then your mom's family.
I don't think that's a Latino thing. I think that's like a divorced family thing.
Well, no, I mean, like, I don't know. Is it normal? Is it normal for like two sides of a family to like spend one holiday together? Like if you live in proximity.
From what I've observed, they take turns. If they're not close enough that they do it all together, they take turns. So like 1 year you go with your dad's side, and the other year you go with your mom's side. And then like if that year you went with your dad's side, then you spend New Year's with the mom's side, or you spend Halloween with the mom's side.
I don't know. All I know is that we did Christmas Eve at midnight because that's when my Theo Robert got home from work.
That's true.
And he
That's
was like,
probably it. I just also remember having insomnia. I do remember like, I think you're right. And I think what I was remembering was because I'm autistic and I know the rules of Christmas, I'd be like, wait a minute. How did Santa deliver these if we've been up the whole time? And then someone would be like, you just missed him. You weren't here? And they'd have to like convince me that he was real. And that's the funny thing is I believed in Santa until I was like 8. And the reason I stopped was because after a while, Anthony and Dominic got too old to be like assisting my mom with Christmas or something. I'm speculating, but I became the Christmas helper. I went with her to get the gifts. I went with her to wrap the gifts, And I was the one, because I had learned cursive that year, to write from Santa on all the presents.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, why am I writing this? And she's like, because we need... because I'm wrapping them. And I was like, no, I mean, doesn't Santa write this? And
Let's
she's like,
get to the bottom.
Well, because then she was like, what are you talking about? Like, she had realized that I still believed in him. And I was like, well, isn't Santa real? You still believe in Santa? Shit. And it was a really funny moment between me and my mom.
Real quick, Noche Buena translates to the good night, and it's celebrated on Christmas Eve. It's a holiday that traces back to the Spanish colonization and celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ.
So I guess that makes sense with it being like the birth of Christ, right?
Yeah.
Because did he get born at midnight?
He wasn't even born this time of year.
He was born in spring. Christians adopted that ritual to push out
Real
pagan ideology.
We'll get to that. I think we need to get to the bottom of this, how Santa is a white supremacist idea of a white savior that has to come in. Oh, my mom, who worked hard, Santa's trying to take credit for my Latina mom's hard work. Huh? It wasn't worth it. I see people post online, or like there's like movies and stuff about how like there's like Christmas movies where it's like Christmas Day and they need to go get something, and they're like, oh, we gotta go to the fucking hardware store 5 hours away because nothing's open right now. But like one of the best things is that if you need anything, just go to like a Mexican establishment because they're all open on Christmas morning.
They already opened all their
They
presents.
already got the stuff done, right? And menudo, Christmas menudo, that's the shit. That's the best.
I prefer pozole in general, but I like menudo. I'm actually acquiring a taste for it. The biggest thing...
This fool said that like if he just became a vampire.
You just see like my teeth coming in and out. As a kid with autism, I did not like the texture of beef tongue. I absolutely hated it. And that's usually what they put in menudo.
Isn't it stomach?
It's stomach and tongue.
Oh, anyway, it's
The
fucking
fuzzy one was tongue.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, people loved it, and I did not like the texture of it, especially when I found out it was tongue. I felt like I was making out with a cow, and I didn't like that idea.
I would swish it around in my mouth.
You're gross. And... But I've recently like acquired a taste for it. I can get past that.
Menudo's the best. Pozole is alright.
I like how my mom makes pozole. My mom makes the best pozole. Because she makes chile verde from scratch and then she incorporates it in the pozole. Or is it salsa verde?
I don't know.
She'll definitely correct me. Thank you, Mom. I love you. Hello. I just wanted to take a moment to shout out our sponsor, LegacyTeasAndSpices.com. It's a shop run by our mother, Angel Lemesqua, and it's a great source for teas, spices, and even sugars. We also just introduced a lot of great new flavors, including Frita Cola, Cafe con Leche, and Chicano Chai. So be sure to check those out and use coupon code UP20 on your next purchase to get 20% off. Let's get into an icebreaker question. Do we have a question from the Discord?
Yeah. Icebreaker. Hardly knew her.
You kind of touched on some stuff a little bit. This is from Damen Screen? Okay. What is a tradition you want to keep? What is one you want to get rid of? And what's a tradition you wish you had? So it's kind of like 3 questions.
I think that Christmas at midnight is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Christmas in the morning, it just, I don't know, it doesn't hit the same for me.
I definitely like what became sort of our tradition, which was the one before midnight, because the kids would get restless. So it became a thing where we were allowed to pick. Because it became like a guessing game for us. Like we wanted to try to think of which one would be like the best gift, because we were kids. The best gift in our bunch. So we would open one before midnight, and it'd be like a Russian roulette thing for all of us because we never know what we would open. Sometimes you'd open socks. Sometimes you'd open like a new Xbox. You never knew what that one was going to be. And then even if you felt bad, after midnight, you'd get to open the rest of your presents and you wouldn't feel so bad.
Not a fan of eggnog.
I love eggnog.
Not a fan. It's too nut. I don't know what it is.
Too nutty.
Too nutty.
I think there's nuts in it.
There's like spices in it. It's too thick. Also, I'm sorry, because I know we should say their name. Somebody asked about Champurrado versus...
Yeah. It's sugar, honey, iced tea.
Okay.
Which do you prefer,
Spell
ponche
shit.
or champurrado?
Ponche or champurrado? I feel like personally, I think I know that the ponche is supposed to be like seasonal. It's like supposed to be a spiced punch. I like it cold, and our mom makes Mexican ponche. Quick shout out, and I like it has Jamaica in it, so I like drinking it iced in the summer. So in the summer, I prefer anything with Jamaica, and then for the holidays, I prefer champurrado.
The thing is with like Jamaica and like ponche and stuff like that, like it's got a distinct flavor that it makes me sick. Like it's like guayava, where like I enjoy the idea of it, and I like it's something that I'll get excited for, but then when I start like consuming it, it makes me sick. Like I'm like, this is disgusting. Like with guayaba, I can't. We had a fucking tree in our backyard, and I used to like it smelled really good, and then I would eat them.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not good.
I think that's how I was about that's how I am about certain alcoholic beverages. Like I enjoy whiskey, so I thought I'd love scotch, but it just tastes salty to me.
I mean, that's probably just the one you had. I don't know. But champurrado, so the thing about that is that like the first time I had it was at in Olvera Street for Dia de los Muertos. You know, on Day of the Dead, they form a big line, and there's like this little old lady at the end serving conchas and champurrado, and everybody gets one. And like, you know, it's like a tradition that they have for Day of the Dead.
Right.
But when I had it, my friend took me, and it was like the first time I ever participated in something like a cultural event. And I was trying to be like, first of all, we all know I fucking hate conchas. Like, it's disgusting. When we did the fucking British Bake Off episode, and they were like, "Oh, this concha is a bit too dry." I was like, "Obviously, you fools don't know anything about Mexican food, because conchas are dry as shit. All right, they did it the right way." Anyway, they served champurrado, and the thing, I didn't know what it was. Like, it wasn't until like recently. Cut to the end, I didn't know what it was, and I was like, "Oh, I'll drink." They were like, "Oh, it's like Mexican hot chocolate," and I was like, "Hell yeah, I love hot chocolate." And then it was like drinking oatmeal. Like,
that was the thing. Sorry to cut, because that was how it was explained to me too. That it was Mexican hot chocolate, but it's not. It's like it's ground rice, clove, cacao bean, and then it's like brewed in hot
it's
water.
made with masa.
Yeah, and then it's like brewed with hot water.
Yeah, exactly. But when I had it that time, what I didn't know is that it's supposed to be properly mixed, and like it's kind of like a thick drink.
And you have to drink it hot.
You have to drink it hot. But when I got it, the liquid had separated from the masa, so it was. I fucking hate oatmeal.
I love oatmeal.
Oatmeal is the worst food. I won't go on a rant about it, but it's disgusting. But I was drinking it. So for a long time, I hated champurrado. But then recently,
corn.
What?
It's corn. It's not oats.
Yeah, but it's
Actually, a corn is categorized as a vegetable, a seed, and a grain.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Fucking Corn. Okay.
Fucking corn.
I never even knew what champurrado was until literally like 4 days ago.
I think maybe like
What?
4 seconds ago when you described it.
No, I went to a restaurant with my grandma and she ordered some. I always thought it was like I've heard of it, but I thought it was like alcoholic drink or something weird.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, it was fine, but it didn't it wasn't a thick layer of corn. It was mixed appropriately. It was
See,
fine.
that was the
I think
thing.
you
It
had
was
it
hot.
fresh.
It
He
was
was
good,
probably like
yeah.
later in the line.
Yeah, so like a couple of years ago, my mom's friend made it, and it was like real thick and like well mixed, and like she made it from scratch. I don't know how other people. I don't know how it's made. I never liked it, so I never bothered to learn about it. But I was like, this is gross. And then finally, I was like being polite, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So then I had it, and it was good. So now, Champurrado is pretty bomb. And I'll take it over ponche.
I will say, if I'm choosing between that and horchata, it depends on who makes it, but I prefer horchata.
I don't fuck with rice.
You just said you like champurrado.
It's made with corn.
It's made
That's
with
true.
corn.
I keep thinking rice, but it's corn.
Another thing that I was interested to ask is what you guys thought ponche was, because ponche is something completely different to me. It's not punch at all.
Wait, what is ponche?
It's like a blended milk drink with like a raw egg and chocolate powder and stuff. Chocolate.
That
It's like a
sounds
chocolate milk shake kind of a thing. But it's like an energy drink. It's like
Ponche?
a breakfast thing.
How is it spelled?
Ponche. It's spelled the same exact
All right,
way.
look it up. What is ponche?
We're gonna
'Cause
have
that
to
might-
Google this.
I think you guys might be right. But
No,
I think it's
it-
regional.
It might be a regional thing.
Could be. I feel like
Because that sounds
ponche-
bomb.
In
It's
my
good.
head, ponche
I
was
used-
always just like a Spanglish word, like it's just punch.
Punch. And that makes sense. That's why I said I think you guys might be right, and it looks like you guys are.
I thought ponche was like Jamaica with like fruit, chopped up fruit.
But I feel like what you're describing is the thing. I just forget what it's called.
My mom used to make it for me when I would play soccer and sports and stuff, and she would call it ponche.
Oh.
She'd
She
crack
might
a
have
raw
just been
egg in
saying
that.
like juice, like because
Maybe.
that's the thing is like horchata is often like categorized with like the fruit juices and the Jamaica.
That sounds pretty bomb though.
ponche
yeah.
a crema.
Maybe
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is that we didn't grow up very, like, our family in particular didn't grow up very religious, even though, like, my grandma is, like, very religious.
Right.
But, like, as a family, we weren't very traditional or very religious. So, like, our traditions, I wouldn't even, it's weird because I always feel like we don't grow up with many traditions, like, you know, like, hanging the stockings or I don't know what tradition, like what are like common Mexican traditions around the holiday.
Going to church.
Yeah, we would go to church sometimes, but there was no like
That's something like
ritual around the holiday.
Yeah, because there is like especially with I believe the Catholic faith in Mexico, there's like the 3 celebratory days that you celebrate after Christmas. There's like the day, I forget what it's called. It's like a day to mourn day for the slain children that were killed in the search for Jesus, and that's on the 28th. And then there's 3 Kings Day, which is on the 6th. And then I think on like January 22nd, there's a 3rd day. I forget what it's called, but essentially when you cut the Jesus out of the cake, the little toy baby doll, whoever finds it has to prepare a dinner for the whole family on the 22nd.
You know who's got Christmas on lockdown?
Who?
The Filipinos.
Yeah, but they
Dude.
literally celebrate it like months earlier, don't they?
No, they say when the months start going burr, that's when it's Christmas time. So September, October, November, December. They celebrate from September to January Christmas.
That does not explain Rogelio listening to Jingle Bells in fucking July.
Because they're trying to start the Christmas season. See, here's the thing for them. So we had a coworker that was from the Philippines, and he would play Christmas music in the summer, like because it's Christmas season for them.
Yeah.
But the thing is like it's the same thing about how as soon as Halloween is over, November, it's like now it's Christmas time. For them, it's like, well, you know, it's August is over, so it's July, so it's basically September already.
That's
So
not
it's
how
time to
that
start
works.
putting up the Christmas decorations.
It's terrible math.
But yeah, we had to make a rule where
No Christmas music until...
no Christmas music until November, and then it could only be for 1 hour a day.
Yeah. because he played it like not. Like everyone would get a turn. You'd get an hour to play whatever music you wanted. He'd only play Christmas music.
What's your most hated Christmas song?
Hated?
Yeah. What song like would you hear and you're like, oh my god?
Here's the thing. Okay, first of all,
Up on
hold on.
the treetop, because it was the one song that they made us learn every year with fucking bells and flashcards.
Somebody asked us a question one time, like, what's your favorite Christmas song? And they fucking, like, totally humiliated me. Oh, it was last year with Steve on the podcast. Because I was like, oh, Jingle Bell Rock. Because I'm like, Christmas music, right? And then he goes, oh, probably Last Christmas by fucking Wham. That's not a Christmas song, dog. Like... Yeah, you can add it to your Christmas playlist. I get it. It's a Christmas, but you're gonna fucking be like, oh, I listen to cool music. I only listen to fucking pop and like.
I want to say that's a Christmas song the same way Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
No, because it's. I mean,
I'm agreeing with you. That's the point of what I'm saying.
Also, yeah, it is because it's not a Christmas song. It's about lost love. So, it just happened to take place on Christmas.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Anyway.
Mine's Batman.
See, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, actual Christmas music, like music that was meant for Christmas, not a fucking somber time. First of all, the Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack, that's the best Christmas music of all time. Christmas Time is Here. Christmas time.
I like it. I'm down with it. That's the version that had Fergie as Sally.
Dude, I could listen to that song all year round.
I can't anymore because I only think of that meme from Arrested Development.
Yeah, but worst Christmas song, the Two Front Teeth song, anything that's meant to be sung by an annoying kid is not a good song. And that song is meant for annoying people.
Well, damn.
What else? Christmas music is not inherently good. White Christmas is a good song, even though that fool was...
Well, here's the thing. Finish that sentence. Did you know statistically most pop songs written about Christmas were written by Jewish people?
Oh, you
That's
know what's
fact.
so funny? Who said that?
Sarah Silverman.
No, I know that, but somebody was talking about it. There was a comedian. I don't know if it was Gilbert Gottfried, but yeah, no, that's true. Is that like all the pop songs a lot of music was written by Jewish people, and they were saying how funny it was that Christmas this idea also like music and TV shows were written by Jewish people. So like, it just makes Christmas funny because we have this like weird cartoony like version of what like the perfect Christmas is supposed to be, but it's because Jewish people were like
They're describing what Christmas looked like from their perspective.
Exactly. They're like describing these like white Anglo-Saxon Christmases, like this, like how they're behaving. It's like they would translate that into media. And that's why we have like just this weird Puritan Christmas.
It's funny.
I love it.
What's it? It's a weird
I
one.
don't think I hate any music. Well, no. I will say this, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for it. I don't like Mariah Carey's Christmas song.
I actually
All
agree
for
with
Christmas.
you. I'll agree with you. I don't like them either. I'm tired of hearing them.
I just don't. What I don't like is the culture around things of like. Maybe it's traditions. Maybe I don't like traditions. Because it's just like the way that people get hype about something. It's like, oh, this is where you're supposed to feel this way about this thing. And then it becomes like, I felt the same thing about bacon. Like, remember like 5 years when like the internet loved bacon? And I was like, it's not that good. But just out of nowhere, somebody was like, bacon is amazing. And then everybody was like, well, I guess we love bacon now. And we're going to put it on shirts. And pizza. Oh, is there bacon?
No, I feel the same way about pizza.
Oh, right.
Everyone's super hype about pizza. Like, pizza's
Damn.
the best food in the world.
I thought you were saying that there was bacon on that pizza.
Pepperoni.
Oh, so pizza is the best food in the world. I love pizza.
But anyway,
Pizza's my number one favorite.
I don't
food.
know if there's a lot of. What are some Christmas songs? Jingle Bell Rock. That's the only one that I could think
Jingle
of.
Bell Rock.
That's the only song you even know.
Imagine. I
Rocking
like.
around the Christmas tree.
You're just saying the words to Jingle Bell Rock. I'm asking for a different song.
No, it's a different song. Rocking around the Christmas tree. It's the one from Home Alone.
That's Jingle Bell Rock.
That's a separate. No, it's not.
I think it might.
Jingle bells is jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. See, you know it. So now you know you're wrong.
Wait, what's the last part?
He's just a family guy.
I don't remember. But and then the other one is
What were you saying?
Rocking Around the Christmas Tree is a separate song.
Oh, it is. It is a
Rocking
song.
around the Christmas tree.
It's a happy holiday.
And then I always picture Michael Jordan
Oh,
on a
right.
cardboard, just like I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus.
Those
Yeah.
are the Christmas songs I hate. Like, Grandma just got ran over by a reindeer.
Yeah. Do you remember there was a cartoon movie called, what was it called? I think it was called Grandma Got Run Over by a
Yeah,
Reindeer.
it was based on the song.
And it was like they took Santa to court and almost ruined Christmas for everybody.
I know. So, there's so many movies where they take Santa to jail. I don't know why.
Get this dusty old broad out of the street, dog. It's time
Why
for
is
Christmas.
Grandma wandering in the snow in the middle of the night? Timmy, look after your grandmother.
What is she doing a mile in the sky, huh? Because that's where Santa is.
Yeah, Santa's not gonna be like, let me just land in the middle of this.
Hold on, I got to make a pit stop at Fred Meyer's real quick. My hip.
That's not talking about Santa. She got trampled by a reindeer.
Yeah, in that song, she dies.
It has nothing to do with Santa.
There's this show.
It just says she forgot her medicine. She stumbled out into the snow, and they found her with hoof marks on her forehead.
On her forehead?
It says this in the song. Those are the lyrics.
More like Grandma
She
got
had
murdered by
hoofprints on
a
her
Christmas-themed serial
and
killer.
incriminating claw. Oh, it says claws marks.
I'm imagining like
On her back.
a serial killer.
Incriminating claws marks on her back.
That's what it says.
Was Santa the chupacabra?
I guess.
Right? I'm imagining like a
pretty
podcast
crazy.
about it, like a true crime podcast about hooved killer in like the Northwest area.
Dun, dun, dun.
It says at the scene of
It's
the
like-
attack. They found her on Christmas morning at the scene of the attack. It's
Jesus.
a dark zone.
Jesus.
I don't know. It's a weird thing because there. I don't know. It's like I feel the same. Christmas music to me, because you learn a lot of Christmas. Like there's like Christmas pageants or whatever for school.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way about Christmas music as I do about like patriotic music. About like
It's really good.
It's overly like,
I
it's
love
just
it. It's my
overly
favorite.
like tedious and
You're a
forced.
grand old flag. You're a high flying flag. And forever and I don't
Will
know.
you wave? I just know that part.
The land I love. Every single song that I'm singing sounds like the Family Guy theme song.
I could see that with the Grand Old Flag.
But anyway, it's like you have your favorite version of them because you had to learn them. But I don't like Christmas music.
I'm just imagining like the next time I hear Grand Old Flag, I just go, luckily there's a family guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand traditions.
How about away from holiday traditions and like, how about birthday traditions? Did you ever get your face smashed in a cake?
Oh yeah.
They tried to me once and I lost my shit. And they never tried again. Have you seen that one? There's a viral TikTok clip where it's this little girl's birthday. No, it's a boy's birthday, and his sister walks up to smash his face into the cake. And the mom, like, you can see on her face, she's like, no, I just paid for this cake. I'm not going to let you. So she pulls it out of the way. So the sister slams his head into the counter and knocks him unconscious. Jeez.
I've seen a lot of those fails.
It's so violent but funny.
There's some real danger in that tradition.
Yeah, I
You
saw
hear those
someone
internet
like
stories about how like there was toothpicks in the cake and they didn't know about it and they fucking slammed
now
some
I
fools.
get that.
there's a clip where they try to do it right when he blows out the candles, but not all the candles went out. So they shove his face in the cake and he stabs himself in the eye and his hair catches on fire.
Oh, what about the one where there was some kid where they put his face in the cake and so he's like, fuck you guys, and he pushes the cake off the table?
Oh, I think I have seen that one. Usagi Pie says that their friend had an ice cream cake.
Because I've also made this. It's Usagi, not Usagi.
That says Usagi.
And that's what I thought. It's like very
a
clearly a
capitalized
playful.
Yeah, because you capitalize the
Usagi
first
Pie,
letter in the
you
name.
need to tell us if that's a joke name or not, because
It
it
says
looks like
Usagi.
it's Usagi.
Usagi.
How are you getting
I guess.
soggy?
Sagi.
By your guys' not like
you seen
by
it?
your logic, yeah, it's Usagi.
Pie?
Usagi Pie.
Okay.
Sounds like a really funny, like 70s curse word.
Usagi Pie.
Usagi is a rabbit. I think.
Rabbit pie?
Usagi Pie says that their friend had an ice cream cake and they didn't unfreeze it.
Oof.
And that somebody slammed their head into it.
You just hear a loud boom.
Well, not a lot of people know you're supposed to thaw the cake out. Like, you're supposed to take it out a few hours before, but most people just keep it in the freezer.
So funny.
A lot of the stuff that I used to like my favorite thing, or like the stuff that I would always ask for was like ice cream cake, and but I would still want ice cream. My mom started doing this thing to get around like the ice cream cake, where she would get ice cream sandwiches and then line the bottom of like a tray, and then put just like straight up whipped cream over that, and then chocolate sauce and like chocolate shavings, and then put that in the freezer, and then it would like stiffen up, and then you would like cut that up and serve that.
Wait, what?
But there's no cake.
Yeah, but you just want the shape.
Are you talking about the ice cream sandwich thing? I spaced
I just
out for
said
a
that.
second.
Yeah, he was.
It took me a second to figure out what he was talking about. No, yeah, my mom did that for me once. It's very innovative and creative and fun.
Okay. Reading Rainbow over here.
I got fly twice as high, Dominic.
You're fucking high as shit right now.
I just start floating.
So you can tell me who the name is, but somebody asked a question along the lines of like Christmas traditions being taken from like pagan and indigenous traditions.
I'll read the whole question.
Yeah,
It's from Freya. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
Which is
Freya 440?
Because I think Freya is a pagan
It's
deity.
German.
How has learning that most Christmas traditions are indigenous rituals and traditions altered to assimilate indigenous people into Christianity affected how you view holidays, if it has at all?
Well, actually, from my understanding, and I don't know if this is where they're coming from, I don't know every tradition's lineage, but the primary source of them is correcting pagan. There was this year where Christianity was battling paganism, essentially, and that's where you get like St. Patrick's Day and I think a few other holidays. Halloween comes from that as well, and it was Christianity trying to assimilate paganism specifically. I don't remember what else they also copied from the indigenous people, but I do know which parts were taken from pagan rituals. The most obvious one being using winter, using December as the celebratory month. That comes from the Yuletide festival, which was a pagan festival. It was celebrating life in the winter during a time when most natural things are dying off. That's also where the tree comes from. You would bring something in your home to celebrate it, but then you would allow it to pass, sort of accepting the eventuality of death while also celebrating life during the winter season. It's also where my favorite fact about Santa comes from. Not fact, but it's kind of like a headcanon that I have that Santa is a drunk because he's described as jolly. The word jolly comes from a word that's connected to Yule, which means spirit, as in the winter spirit. And that's also directly correlated to calling alcohol spirits. And so at one point in American history, when the pagan festivals were outlawed, to be jolly meant to be full of holiday spirit, which meant to be full of holiday spirit literally, which meant to be drunk. And I thought that was funny. Jolly used to mean publicly intoxicated.
I would have to know like what indigenous traditions like were taken. Like, I mean, obviously the tree inside, but that's pagan.
I think one that was indigenous, maybe, and I could be misremembering, is the mistletoe.
Yeah,
Kissing under the mistletoe.
but the I mean, there's it maybe not specifically for Christmas, but there's a lot of stuff, in Latin America. There's a big history of, incorporate the thing that the reason why they did this is because I don't know. The reason why that they did this was because specifically in Mesoamerica with like the indigenous people in Latin America, was because the missionaries would come and they were like spreading the word of God, And what's really funny is that they were doing this and that the indigenous people were like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, thanks for sharing your God with us." But it's like they literally took like if you presented them with like the it's like if the Catholics came and like gave them like the Jesus on the cross statue to like hang up on their wall. And then they were like, "Oh, thanks for this gift." And then they put it on their wall with all of their other gods already there. And they were like, now we have like another
Collect
god.
the whole set.
Yeah, exactly. Like collect the whole set. They just added it to their pantheon of like what they believed in.
Right.
But for Christians, obviously, the issue is that no, this is the one true God. So you can't just add it to what you believe in. You have to change your whole belief system. So then, what they started doing was killing everybody. And then they were like, this isn't very sustainable. We need labor. So they were like, well, why don't we just like trick them into like incorporating some of their ideas and just, making it about God.
Kind of just gaslighting everyone. Oh, no, we invented that.
Gaslights?
Like you'd be like, "Oh, you bring trees into your house? We do that too. In fact, we started that."
Yeah. Like, or instead of decorating it with your symbols, like you can still do the practice, but use these symbols instead. Kind of a thing.
It feels like the earliest versions of like how like children's church groups try to incorporate. They make their own rap music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The way that I feel about holidays, here's the thing is like people are like, fuck Thanksgiving. Yes, fuck Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Fuck colonizers.
My favorite joke is from King of the Hill, where it's like, by the way, Red Corn, I've been meaning to ask, do your people celebrate any kind of Thanksgiving? And he's like, we did celebrate it once.
Yeah. I think two things. One, obviously, the history of the holidays are full of like evil and misdeeds, right? Now there comes a decision for you to make of like, is that okay? Are you okay? Because for me, the spirit of the holiday, is that enough for you to make a decision whether or not you should ignore the holiday or like continue it with the knowledge of like the history behind it? So like Thanksgiving, obviously it's like a day of like, it's on, they try to make it about like togetherness and like unification, and then on the other side it's like betrayal. Like,
Yeah, and for me personally, I think there's potential in altering the holiday. Because here's the thing about the history of Thanksgiving, is it wasn't regularly practiced in America until like the 40s, and it was essentially established and given a day every year by, I think, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
I mean, a lot of stuff.
Like, he started it being every third Thursday or fourth Thursday of the month.
Well, a lot of those things happen because they want to solidify, like they want to create something that like brings people together. So they want to. I mean, I don't know the history behind it, but what it feels like is like they're trying to reinforce the idea of the American family, like the American dream, essentially.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, potentially America could decide if it wanted to change the point of Thanksgiving and essentially literally just stop celebrating the first Thanksgiving, and
Right.
instead, like, because the concept that was introduced by Franklin Delano Roosevelt was, as I understand it, I'm not like defending any particular side of American politics or anything. As I understood it, the way it was taught to me was he was trying to find ways to unify the people during like one of the most difficult times of like recent American history.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, you could call it Unity Day, and it could just be about families like hanging
Wasn't
out
there
together.
like a thing? Unity Day is the thing, isn't it?
I don't know, but we could call Thanksgiving Unity Day. But at the same time, that still does feel like it's ignoring the potential, like the history of Thanksgiving, and I do feel like it's also important to acknowledge that history.
My thing is like the whole we're getting away from Christmas, right? But like even taking this approach for like a holiday like Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a corporate shill holiday where they're trying to sell flowers and cards and chocolates and like spending money. Like it's literally just, I mean, all holidays are capitalist, but like Valentine's Day is like super capitalist. Like it's about buying things or paying for experiences to have.
With the person you love.
With the person you love. That's how they go. But the thing is, I will say this as somebody that is single on most Valentine's days, is like the spirit of the holiday. Maybe it's not the spirit, but like the concept of it is like, yeah, it is important to set aside days for these ideas. And maybe the answer should be to like because all cultures have like traditions and rituals and they, you know, there's love festivals, there's like seasons for these things, there's stuff for these, and maybe you find ways to practice them after like digging a little deeper. It's not that hard. I think it is important to identify and remove yourself from a lot of commercialization of these like corporate holidays. And I do feel, you know, I will say that I'm definitely a little bit of a hypocrite in saying a lot of this stuff because I haven't done it, and I mean, you know, I'm not making any promises of whether I'm going to follow through on these things, but if it's that important, maybe the right thing to do is like, if you really believe in the spirit of Christmas or the spirit of giving or like whatever it is, it's about family, it's about showing your appreciation for it. Because the thing is too, is that what's interesting to me is that people are hanging on to like Christmas as like, they've already changed the meaning of it because secularism has grown in America, where like nobody really gives a fuck about the birth of Christ, you know, like if you're a Christian you do and you incorporate that, but at the same time those people are taking the Christians and like being and like giving these fucking gifts, like spending money and like having these big events and buying a lot of things. So like Christmas was always weird for me because they're like, oh, it's about family. but then we just had Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving is, you know,
Yeah.
maybe one you have an event for like your chosen family, and you have an event for your birth family, and you have a holiday for strangers where you like the point is to like do something nice for somebody that you
They
don't
have that.
know.
It's called High Five Day.
No, why do you?
High five.
This is when fuck you guys, both of you.
I think that's just a result of what you're talking about, of the secularism and people trying to hold on to the things they did as kids. Like, Thanksgiving's not about family. It's about the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
Christmas is not about family. It's about the birth
So that's
of
what
the
I'm
Lord
saying
Jesus
is like
Christ.
you could evolve it by removing the identification. Like specifically with Thanksgiving, if it stopped being a celebration of like terrible history and just was something else, I feel like it'd be a lot more palatable. But I also want to maintain that that's not about erasing that history. That's about acknowledging that in a different way.
I just don't think anyone's celebrating the horrible history. No one's
I mean,
being like,
it's
fuck Native Americans.
Because that's the thing.
Well,
Like in
it's-
school, they're
You
still
know?
talking
Sorry,
about
I forgot this is YouTube. I'll
in
cut that
school
out.
they're still explaining it as like the unification of the country, and it's like the first Thanksgiving, the way it's presented to you as a child, it's still presented that way. It's still taught that way in school.
It's still a thing about the first pilgrims and natives.
Because that's what
so-
the celebration is
right.
traditionally
Nobody is
about.
Yeah.
celebrating those things.
No,
But
nobody's
if you look
celebrating
at, you know,
If
what-
anything,
what-
it forces us to talk about it every year. Because
Right.
I've always had an edgy teenager in my family who was like,
Yeah.
you know, this holiday's not even about. They killed everyone. You know, there's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
somebody.
yeah.
And,
So is
keeps the conversation going, really.
I
Definitely.
think, I mean, Thanksgiving is one thing. I think for Christmas, now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of coming to this conclusion myself. But I feel like if you're not Christian, you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. In like, if you are Christian, celebrate Christmas, but it, to me, on one, don't fucking force. There's this war on Christmas, and we're like,
Yeah, the
it
war on
needs-
Christmas is stupid as fuck.
it needs to be the end all be all. Like, those are your beliefs, and you should be able to believe them and celebrate them, and like have those whatever you want. Like, celebrate Christmas and have your own rituals around it. But for everyone else, like winter season, solstice, you know,
Do whatever
if
the
there's a
fuck you
gift
want.
giving tradition or holiday around, like, I'm not saying but you understand what I'm saying though, is like,
Don't call it Christmas.
don't call it Christmas, but yes, don't call it Christmas. Like, Christmas should be a thing separate from gifts. I also understand the whole point of the gifts and the fucking 3 wise men and all that shit. But like, here's the thing with like a lot of Jewish holidays are used to remember like a thing, and like, I mean, all holidays are remembering something, right?
Yeah.
But like, you spend the time to like do the thing, like you spend the time to remember these things. I just think like it's a weird thing where like with Christmas specifically, it's like we want it so many different ways, and it's just like, all right. Well, let's just have something else that's not Christmas, and like Christmas be about the birth of Christ. You guys do your birth of Christ thing over there. I shouldn't say that 'cause my dad is watching this probably.
I did.
But you know what I mean? Like you're saying, make the holiday about what it's supposed to be about, and all that other stuff is its own thing. Like,
Yeah.
because like,
You know which one is funny to me, and I do feel like maybe we'll do a whole episode about it, but I think this is my favorite fact is, so have you heard of Three Kings Day?
No.
I've only
You
heard
said it,
about
so-
it from like Latinos, but I do believe like other sects of Catholicism practice it as well.
sex.
Step it. But it's a holiday that happens 6 days after Christmas. Or no, it happens on January 6th. Which is essentially like, this is supposed to represent the king's arriving at the Christ's birth. I think in the storyline, Christ is already born at this point, so they're just meeting him. And this is during the time when everyone was trying to meet the new king. And in this tradition, the family meets around, they have the king's bread, or king cake, and there's supposed to be a tradition where you leave your shoes out the night before, and the three kings will leave presents in your shoes. And if you're bad, they leave rocks in your shoes, and that's where that rock in your shoe comes from. I thought it was funny because I know that there are some parts of America that celebrates it, but June 6th also happens to be the day of the insurrection 2 years ago. And so I always, in my head, there's this funny moment where a kid is like, who's grown up on Three Kings Day, wakes up in the morning, super excited, runs downstairs to look at his shoes, and instead he sees his father shirtless, painting his face and wearing a Viking helmet like America.
What's your favorite holiday food?
Tamales.
Yeah, tamales, dog. Tamales is the best. Like, first of all, listen, tamales. That's what else can be said? All right, tamales are good. They're the best. The only reason why we only have it during the wintertime is because they're a lot of work, but that work pays off. All right. It's the best. It's the best food that money can buy.
Have you tried the pocket tamales? They started
A
selling.
tamale is a pocket. All right, so don't start.
They started selling a product. It's a single tamale in a plastic pocket.
Listen,
that you can
like
microwave.
Tamales are already wrapped.
like a hot pocket.
Have you ever been to like Tamale Guy?
Which one?
It's like a fast food restaurant for tamales. You could just pull up year round.
We just broke his brain.
No, but there is one in Echo Park that I want to go to.
We're gonna go to
We
his
had one.
birthday.
Oh man, Mom, I'm on a mission. So this is my New Year's resolution, is to try every tamale in the world.
In the world.
Not in the world, but I do. It's my goal to try, like, tamales from every Latin country.
What's your favorite flavor that you've had so far, I guess?
Guatemalan tamales full. Guatemales.
The first time, so when I was a child, I didn't know that Guatemala was a place, so I thought they said watermelon.
I thought that's what he just said right now.
No. Tamales from Guatemala.
Oh, I thought you meant watermelon tamales.
Some people don't know. I don't like fruit. Dessert tamales.
It just sounded like he was super excited for this dessert that he invented.
Yeah, Guatemala tamales.
Guatemala.
Listen.
Beep.
Tamales from Guatemala. Jesus Christ. Guatemalan tamales are the best.
That's just where it's from. What's it consist of? It's just.
So the one that I had the
Chicken.
ones that I've had is chicken.
Wait, is
but
it different than a normal tamale?
They're supposed to be bigger, and they're like cooked in a banana leaf or something.
They're
yeah,
sweet.
so some countries use corn. A lot of other countries that are further south use banana leaves, especially if you're along the coast, I believe.
Not bananas, just the leaves from the tree.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
Got it.
So Guatemalan ones are like fat. They're like cubes almost. And like the way that they make them, it's like if they put soup into, it's like, what are those wet dumplings? What are they called?
Soup dumplings?
Soup dumplings? It's like a soup dumpling. Like it's like if you put pozole into a tamale and like eat it like that.
Sounds
It's
delicious.
fucking bomb. The one that I haven't tried, so far I've only had Guatemalan, Mexican, and Salvadoran. And so far Salvadoran's not at the top of the list. Sorry, y'all.
Well, you also have had American from that gas station. in
Okay,
Arizona.
guy, listen. If I see a tamale on the menu, I'm gonna order it.
It wasn't on the menu. It was on a heating rack,
Listen,
like a hot dog.
Nice.
it was fine.
He ate 2 of them
I paid for 2. Okay,
whole.
you can't just throw it away. Be wasteful.
We should do a separate episode about gas station foods
That'd be fun.
I'd be down.
because I could talk about that.
I think I've only had.
I haven't had
Mexican.
Peruvian ones yet, but I really want to try. I love Peruvian food.
I have tried it a couple times. I like it.
This guy's a world traveler. I was thinking I only know Mexican tamales. I was like, "What's your favorite flavor?" You started naming countries.
No,
What's your
I mean,
favorite? My favorite is cheese with jalapeno.
yeah.
It's a fire one right there.
So for Mexican tamales, cheese and jalapeno. I feel like green chicken
Top tier.
is like the best, but only if the chicken is good. If the chicken's dry, it fucks up the game.
If you're eating bad tamales, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Who made
I
these
feel like
tamales?
what people fuck up is they don't incorporate enough. They don't want to put too much chile, so they don't put enough, and then it evaporates into the masa as it cooks. So it's just really fucking dry.
And where I
tamale.
grew up, they made on fire.
Yeah. And
I think for bad ones, I mean, okay,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
like
no,
the
I just-
chicken ones. I think that's how people mess them up is not putting enough sauce.
also chile rojo is like it's just a classic. Like it's like you can't. It's not the one that I prefer, but I'm never disappointed. Like it is. It's like when you eat it, you're like, I remember why this is a classic.
Last year we tried one that was chicken and veg. It was like a chicken pot pie themed,
It wasn't themed. It just had.
or it was chicken, rice, and peas and carrots. What did you think of that one?
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of carrots.
there was no sauce in it. It was literally just dried chicken, rice, and veggies.
It's like, have you ever had like a chicken plate with Spanish rice with like peas and carrots in it?
Mm-hmm.
It was like that, but in a tamal, and it would just
I feel
Sounds
like I
good.
just explained that.
it just didn't hit.
No.
Sounds great.
And it was so unfortunate because they got an assortment of tamales, but they had eaten all the good ones first. And so every time I bit into one, I was like, what's this one going to be? It was fucking chicken with rice and veggies. And at the very end, I found one with cheese in it. I'm like, you fucking better. There was just a bunch of half-eaten chicken tamales that got cold.
So if you made it this far,
I like sweet tamales.
comment what's on your Christmas list. Christmas.
Comment,
list.
what are you hoping to get for Christmas, and what's your favorite tamale flavor?
And from us at Un Poquito Podcast.
Don't fly.